So today we're going to talk about G2 and the one map that they cannot figure out, which is Corrode. Now, in their game versus Team Heretics, they ended up losing Corrode, but I do want to take a look at the map veto first, because G2 decided to ban Sunset and let Team Heretics pick Corrode, which they did. But G2 banned Sunset. Now, this is an interesting decision, and as you'll see in this video, this is kind of the map that G2 can't really figure out in Corrode. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw G2 start banning Corrode and playing Sunset, because their Sunset comp was a Sage Chamber comp, and both those agents have been buffed and they look good on Sunset. So we might just see G2 decide to not play Corrode anymore, and we'll take a look at why that might be the case. And it all has to do with their attack side, because you see G2 in their game against Heretics, they were 8-4 up at the half after the defense side. They're now coming onto the attack side. They've lost the pistol, they've lost the second, but here is their bonus round, and they're playing this comp. And this is one thing that is like a bit of a clue that they're unsure about their Corrode, is that they changed their comp, but they've changed their comp a couple times now, and they can't seem to really figure out. For this instance, this time they put Jogamo on Raze, which didn't really work. They've gone for the Sage here with Jonah P. They've gone for a Cypher. They went for a no Viper comp, and it just didn't really work, as we're now going to see. Now, if we take a look at the bonus round here and what went on, you're going to get G2 here early on are going to go for a bit of a 2-1-2 default, right? So you just got the Cypher here, you got 2 players out towards A and 2 players out towards B. And Heretics, they go for a push down mid, right? They try and get Miniboo set up here to try and find this first kill, and he is going to do that and then TP away, right? So he's going to find the first kill there on Leaf, TP away, and obviously a great start there for Heretics and a nice shot by Miniboo. But G2 carry on with what their kind of initial plan was, right? Leaf wasn't going to solo push down mid here on his own. We're just going to take a look at both mains, right? So we get the Race Sage over here towards A. We've managed to take both mains, right? So it's not a disaster just yet, and no one from Heretics is actually pushing down mid, but I do want to show you just the map right here of kind of how quickly, you know, we're only at 1:05 in the round. There's still plenty of time left in the round, right? But Heretics have very quickly got into this kind of like heavy site, right? We're not playing for mid at all, right? There is no defender even looking, you know, to get back into mid or anything like that, right? We are just playing full deep on sites. And keep this in mind for, you know, some of the rounds we're going to show later as well, because this is going to be a bit of a theme of this game. G2, you know, maybe didn't exploit this well enough, but also not just them exploiting it well enough, but Heretics were happy and felt confident in their deep holds on the site. Take a look at this Euro TP that Miniboo has just put out, because you're going to see as the time starts to tick down and G2 do start to come back into mid with a smoke and a Prowler, and these guys start to get rid of some of this Vice Util on A, right? We've got this Euro TP across here. So if I pause it now, well, now there's only 40 seconds left, right? So the time is starting to get a little bit lower, and G2 still have quite a lot of ground to actually, you know, go in here as they start to come towards this A site. And if you think about it from Heretics' point of view, they've got 3 players on B, but they've also got 3 players on A, right? So whatever way G2 are going to go with this, they're heading into a strong site because of the strength of this agent called Yoru. He's pretty good, as you might assume. And you'll see here, as they start to come in towards this site now, G2, you know, and again, it is going to take them some time, right? Like, these guys are walking through mid here, you know. We're slowly walking up here in A main as well, right? So we're kind of slowly making our way up there. Our Yoru hits the TP from Miniboo, and now we've got 3 players here, and we're also going to put this smoke just here, right? So now you take a look at this, and it's like, okay, well, now they're in some trouble. And one of the reasons they're doing this, right, is because they're playing against this Sage, right? And when you play against this Sage, what are you expecting, right? You're expecting some kind of wall maybe here so that you can't cross mid, maybe even a wall behind you, right? Or in this case, they haven't used the wall up to this point. Maybe they're trying to get the wall to, you know, be kind of a post plant thing. But in this situation, we're not getting affected by any of your walls, right? Any Sage wall you might have done up to this point, whether it be in mid or whether it be for a post plant, we're not going to get affected by that, because we're going to win the round right here and right now with the time getting low. And again, with this comp that G2 are playing, you don't have a pop flash to get through that smoke. Right, yeah, they still got some tools here with the nade, with the C's, with the Omen Flash as well. So they do still have some tools here, G2, but they're not going to time it up that well, and Heretics are able to just completely shut this down.
They don't want to risk getting caught on a rotate through mid.
3 now with the teleport.
Yeah, here comes Miniboo back on the site once more. In the eye of the storm. There's a paranoia. They're hoping for more off that one. Jaw at least gets his one, but Benji mows them down. Jonah into the smoke, knows Benji's lurking on the outside of it, but can't bring his gun to bear in time.
So what I mean here about G2 not using their util perfectly is what you're about to get is actually Jogmo is about to just throw his nade through the window, right? So he's just out here to go and throw his nade, right at this point. But I want you to think about this nade and think about, is that a good use of his util? It's not with the C's, right? So it's not paired together with the C's. If he's throwing the nade from back here, right? He can't then like enter as people are moving out of the way, right? Because he has to run all the way back up here. So essentially all that happens with that nade is these guys just avoid it and pop some thorns and then are just chilling, right? And everything is fine. And now you think about it from this perspective where you've got this smoke up, you know, behind my head here. You've got a Raze trying to enter. You know, if this is Yoru, we pop flash through. If this is Neon, you know, we slide in, right, with a stun. If this is even Waylay, you know, you jump in, you TP back, and your teammates kind of, you know, use like the broken crosshair maybe to get a kill, right? Like, or obviously a saturate as well in here, you know, would go quite hard. So you can see that like other duelists that you see play on this map, like this situation, they maybe have an answer for. But like now that Jogmo's used his nade, what is he just gonna like blast pack in? Like one blast pack, no, like, you know, with a normal flash. Again, you see like it just doesn't seem very high chance of success. And then as I say, you've got kind of Jonah here, you know, looking to wall there essentially. I mean, it's not even time duel again, where Jogmo was actually the second one in there. But you've got Jonah here, you know, kind of like late to the play, you know, thinking again like ahead in the round, like, oh, we're walling off as if we've already taken the site for granted. So you can see a couple things there. One, Team Heretics having a very good read and understanding of some of the things G2 are going to do and abusing Yoru, essentially. And G2 just kind of lacking that potential thrust and go button. Okay, now let's come to round number 17. This one is a full gun round for both teams, and we're going to get Team Heretics cooking up a little bit of B main aggro to start.
On the arsenal for Team Heretics right now. G2 fully invested, of course, into this round with a lot of emphasis on controlling B main. Prowlers exchanged from both fades.
Agro sends Trent scurrying, sees, he caught Jorgamo there, he had no way of getting out.
So, interesting little play from Heretics to begin with, right? You see the Vice Flash there. I'm not exactly sure if these Thorns land exactly where they wanted. I might think that they might want them a little bit deeper, but you see that they go for the Thorns, they go for the Flash there. You're going to get Yoru Flash popping out as well. And then Miniboo is able to get the first kill and TP out again. This Yoru agent is pretty good. Rienz manages to escape as well. But now G2, I think you again see that, you know, obviously they were 5 stacked up here on B. So clearly their idea here was, you know, we're going to go B. That was their idea, right? They had the Jogmo Raze ult here. It wasn't there for them. But now you see like something that I don't think you do get a lot from G2, which is like your duelist just died. But now you four are just going to stick with this plan of like, well, we have to just go B. But they also do kind of a really bad job of actually doing a B exec as well.
The entry now for this side exec. Need to run into the Odin, run into Benji, who has that steel garden ready.
They've got to trigger the shield wall all at once as well. Or just leave a play on the other side of it, I guess.
Yeah, good luck, Trent.
There's the steel garden. Lorenz is going hunting. Trent stunned up in the corner. Caught by the Nova Pulse of all things. And now Benji can tap in this corner. There is no option here for G2. What a target!
So yeah, this is kind of a two-parter. One, you know, when your duelist dies here and your whole round plan is gone, I do think, you know, you gotta take the time to at least try something else, right? Like, try and find another kill elsewhere, because I don't think this is going to be your best bet. You know, they throw the cage, they're going to throw down this Sage wall here, but only one player gets ahead of the Vice wall, so they don't really time it that well with the Vice wall. They then just get Vice ulted, right? So now you're just in a lot of trouble. And obviously, it's nice by Benji here. It's a really nice play, and he manages to farm them. So, you know, just again, not really great. You see how little space they're taking here with these Omen smokes, with the Sage wall pushed up. But really, they have no other option, and Benji just absolutely cooks them there. But not a great round by G2. Okay, now let's skip ahead to round number 20. This is off a timeout. Now, this one, you know, is an eco for G2, as you can see just there, but I do want to just highlight just kind of how similar the end of this round looks from Team Heretics. So essentially G2 in this one, you know, they decide to kind of speed it up in terms of their mid take here, right? They go a bit quicker here over towards mid, but just take a look at Team Heretics and how they end up in kind of a similar situation that we saw from before. And again, there was quite a few rounds that ended up looking like this, where G2, as you can see here, are a bit quicker in terms of their mid take and kind of maybe realizing that Team Heretics were, you know, a little bit weak in mid and weren't really prioritizing it that much overall. But you see that by the time that we get to this point and, you know, G2 are starting to take some space, just again, look, we got 3 players here on A. This same smoke is, you know, gonna cause them some problems. And, you know, despite the fact that you're like, well, we've actually managed to walk up a fair way here. Again, this comp just kind of struggling with kind of doing this next part just here. And again, one of our big tools obviously playing this comp is this Sage, right? And the Sage wall. But again, the way that Team Heretics are playing this is kind of just like, look, if you kill us all here and get a Sage Wall up, the round is over anyway, right? These two are on the other side of the map. It doesn't matter if you've got a Sage Wall or not, right? The round is over. But by playing it like this, the way that we are, we're kind of just negating, if you did put that Sage Wall anywhere else, we're also just negating that value from you as well. So one of kind of the main tools that G2 have, Team Heretics just said, well, we're just going to neutralize it and play in a style that means that it's basically doing nothing.
Miserable half buys, and half I feel like is generous.
Valorant looking to cut up the site. This is going to favor now that Stinger play. It's going to allow G2 to function with this weaker weaponry. There's Horn, sees Walls right in front of them, catches on the 2. Jorg is seized in place! It's so dirty! On a dime, they spin a trick! That stuns G2 in the side.
So again, maybe one adaptation that G2 were looking for here was the fact that they weren't going to just try and, you know, run in this way and realize that Heretics were, you know, having a heavy emphasis on this side of the hold. But Heretics know that there's been a timeout, so some adaptation is likely to come. That's why you can see the util from the Vice here is already over towards Elbow. And they get that kind of spidey sense that, you know, well, G2, they're probably not going to do exactly the same thing they did before. So they get the idea to, okay, let's go and, you know, re-clear and fight in towards Elbow instead, right? And they do a good job of that. The Fade Haunt, and then obviously the spam down from the two players. And again, this is just an eco round here, but you do see, again, G2 really struggling with this A-take, kind of no matter what they actually did. And now let's finish with the last round, round number 23. G2 had managed to win a couple rounds here. Team Heretics maybe got a little bit aggressive and started fighting them maybe a little bit too much, but we see in this round, after they take a timeout, they put 2 players in B main, right? So they show something a little bit different here in terms of, you know, getting aggro on a different part of the map. But again, it's the same passive A-hold here, right? And just watch G2 as they walk around this map, because actually they're going to basically run out of time, right? So again, we threaten over here, and I think you can tell they are like really missing a Viper here, right? Because we don't have that Viper wall in mid to kind of create pressure or, you know, like anything like that. And again, just take a look at the Yoru here. And again, how Team Heretics are using this Yoru, right? We are waiting here to send out this TP. So again, we end up in this spot when we've got 40 seconds left in the round. And again, we're playing 3 on both sides, right? And we're happy to give up mid. We don't care. We don't care because we just trust that our side tankers, you know, with 3 players on either side, is going to be able to deal with whatever you do. And you see here that G2, they kind of get a little bit lost in terms of the time, right? Like, we're down to 30 seconds at this point. You know, okay, we're in mid here. You know, we're trying to get across here over towards A. But, I mean, again, just look, we've got so much Vice stuff left. You know, we got 3 players here. We're again just in that spot where it's going to be really difficult for G2.
They have to get through 2 Thorns right now. They're getting sold out. There's an Odin here as well, and the Steel Garden. There's no way, man. There's 15 seconds. How can they do this?
No other choice here. Paranoia comes in. G2 have to fight with secondaries. The Shorty Brigade goes for it. Benji's down, traded out, but Minibu's going to step up, and the shield wall again breaks up G2. They walked into the trap once more, and Minibu's happy to execute them.